calm, collected nature of Joe Turney will be starting right from the front of the grid tomorrow in the OK Senior category. That puts the OKs to bed for the moment, and we've got 6 races to go today, all of them in the junior category. Now, tyre watch. It's very much now becoming the buzzword here. Only two drivers have decided to put their tyres on the right side of the car. Jensen Burnett and Alp Hassan Aksoy, the Lando Norris and Tony Kart drivers respectfully. Everybody else that's gone onto fresh tyres have done so to the left. Elliot Kaczynski, Thibaut Ramekers, Louis Cochet and Noah Montero have all done that, as Dan Kelleher, Hugo Marti and Oliver Kinmark. The only driver that hasn't put fresh tyres on in the top 10 is Mike Pachiala, probably hoping that he will get the opportunity to a little bit later in the day, or certainly later tomorrow. Who else is on the grid on fresh tyres? Well, Kara Fihand and Rocco Coronel, the Indonesian and the Dutchman. Tiziano Monza has also gone onto the fresh half set. Jorl Pocula, I notice, has not, on the Gillard chassis. And then Travis Teo and Matt Corby, Falcon and Kart Republic, they've gone fresh. Chiara Batig and Vasilis Apostolidis have also not. Interestingly, we're just told down in pit lane that Eliska Babichkova did not use her fresh half set of tyres yet. So the fact that she finished 9th position in that heat is very impressive, and she's 8th overall, so she will go 4th on the starting grid for tomorrow's battle. That's Petra Babichkova having broken down post-flag again. So that's 2 races in a row now where Petra Babichkova's kart has broken down after the flag. And, well, she still gets to keep her result. She finishes 10th in that race, and that will obviously help her grid position. But Babichkova, Eliska, managing to start the finals superheat from 4th position tomorrow, and she'll have a fresh half set of tyres. Bring it on. That's going to be very exciting for Eliska Babichkova and for all the female fans out there. Thibaut Ramekers for the VDK team in junior. Front row of the starting grid for the Belgian. For many weeks of this season, he has been the leader of the international karting rankings. And he's definitely looking to continue that form as we continue on. But it's definitely going to be an interesting challenge for the drivers as they continue on their way. Looking at the international karting rankings at this point of the season, I can tell you that the highest ranked driver in the world at this moment is Thibaut Ramekers on 6.144. Elliot Kaczynski right in beside him on the front row of the starting grid for the Ward Racing team, looking for a very competitive end to his season. The international karting rankings has really fascinated me this season. Looking at the top 10 in the mix, we've got 6 of them all here on track this weekend. Thibaut Ramekers, Alexander Bondarev, Lewis Werrell, Alex Power, Christian Bratuka, and Gabriel Gomez. Oh, also actually a 7th, Stepan Antonov, is also in that mix, and that's across junior and senior, of course. And the highest ranked FIA Karting International driver in the world is currently the Belgian Thibaut Ramekers on pole position. Noah Montero, 3rd position on the starting grid for the Portuguese driver, hoping to continue his renaissance after a challenging start to the day, but he's definitely made up for it since then. So it'll be very exciting to see if he continues to make his moves further forward. Starting alongside Noah Montero on that front row of the grid, we're also going to have a couple of challenges. We're actually running a little bit behind schedule now, aren't we? Because we were supposed to kick off at 4:30, but look, we've got 2 karts being recovered. That is the, oh, hang on, that's post-flag. That's Sam Shaw broken down as well as Petra Babichkova. Don't tell me that they collided with each other after the flag, because that really would be quite embarrassing. Louis Cochet, 4th position in the Sodi car.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to seeing what he could do. Yeah, there's been a lot of that after the flag incidents, haven't there? I'm not sure if it's just breakdowns, because that's 2 now post-race for Petra as well. So hopefully Wagon isn't like, well, they're putting in just enough fuel to literally make it to the end to make it as light as possible. They're, oh, cross the line, check a flag, and run out. No, I'm sure they're not doing that.
No, I'm fairly sure they have to give a fuel sample at the end.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure. There is regulation stating that they can't do that.
Exactly.
So, yes. So that is definitely not the case. But yeah, no, certainly it's... this one, it's been a long old day for the juniors, isn't it? It's been a long old day. And for this driver here, Mike Prahalaya as well, the Qatar Sport driver, it's certainly been... he's had a good day, I think a good weekend in total as well, being thrusted into this weekend.
Yeah, it's never easy to come in as a debutant, but Mike Pachiala very much putting himself into a good position there. 5th on the starting grid. Love his logo. Very cool indeed with the one index finger pointed in the air, Sebastian Vettel style, crafted into his name. Very cool. Looks pretty exciting talent for the future, certainly with this being his first go and run. There goes the return of Petra Babachkova and Sam Shaw.
And a rear bumper in her hand.
She did, yeah, so a bit of an issue there. Jensen Burnett looking good in the Ricky Flynn Motorsport machine, the Canadian, hoping for a solid run. So it'll be fascinating to see how it all continues on in progress. But we're going to have a really interesting challenge for all of the contenders out in the mix. So Petra Babachkova still keeps her finishing position, I should point out, despite the fact that she had that post-flag incident. She still gets to keep the position. So all is fine and dandy. Away we go. Okay, junior qualifying heat E versus H, and it's going to be Thibaut Ramakas from Elliot Kaczynski, Noah Montero and Louis Cochet. Then it's Mike Pachala and Jensen Burnett, Alba Sanaksoy and Daniel Kelleher. From Hugo Marti and Oliver Kinmark, then Cara Firhand and Rocco Coronel, Tiziano Monza and Joel Pocchiola from Travis Teo and Matt Corby, Kiara Batig and Vasilos Apostolidis, Vladimir Ivanikov and Salim Hana, Kit Belowski and Medel Peldez, Lorenzo Campos and Walter Schultz, Mattheo Dauvergne and Matthias Avaska, Matthias Orjuela, Nikita Nikishov, Nicholas Veyen, Augusto Toniolo, and then Jacob Mikilev and Max Rafalik. And I should point out that Walter Schultz in the VDK team is not continuing on this weekend. We're not entirely sure what the reason for that is, but the Frenchman not going any further. 2 formation laps, of course. Looks like the clouds are gathering again, but I don't think they're going to hit the circuit before the end of today.
I shall preemptively knock on wood.
Yeah, we'll do that
comment, Jake.
There you go, there you go.
You're testing fate.
I like testing fate, it's good fun.
Yeah, it is good fun. But there we go. But yeah, this one certainly is going to be a good one. We're now solely into the junior runnings now, all the way to the end of the day. We have got this race, plus one more before a short break, and then we go into the final 4 junior races of the weekend. And for this, certainly, it is going to be a true test of a lot of these drivers. The tyres will be absolutely broken, I think, at some point on some of these tyres. But for some, they'll push them right to their limits. Kirill Ditiev leads the intermediate classifications at the moment from Letamaki, from Eilif, Martinez, Scott Marsh, and Christian Costoya. Again, it will change at the end of this one, with Thibaut Ramakas starting this one at the front. Kaczynski, Noah Montero as well has always been up there as well. It's been an absolute fight between all these drivers. Certainly looking forward to it as drivers get themselves ready nice and early as well. Good to see for the penultimate corner. But juniors have been on point with their starts this weekend. Out of the final corner we go then. Revs raised. Kaczynski's early on the gas, so is Ramakas, and they go round again. And formation not deemed good.
Just a little bit too eager, I think. So just a little bit eager. The drivers obviously wanting to get underway. Thibaut Ramakas, obviously the king of the call for the false start, and not quite able to run the positions in. Let's have a look and see what happened there.
Just out of position, I think.
Yeah, I think there were a few drivers not quite in the right line. I love having the camera that we've got there on the starting gantry that looks over the scene. Gives us a real indication.
Can't imagine having to be that person who's got to stand there and line it up perfectly in the middle of the track. Left a bit, right a bit, up a bit, down a bit. No, your other left.
Right, that person does have a name, you know.
Yeah, I know.
We won't drop him in it, don't worry. So the unsung heroes of the broadcast, of course, making sure that the camera positions are absolutely spot on perfect. And I have to say, given the wind out there and given the changeable weather conditions we've had over the last 2 or 3 days, they've really had to have their work cut out for them this time. But
they do an all right job.
They do a fantastic job, let's be fair. They bring the best show in town to the entire world, and they do an amazing job. Thibaut Ramakas and Elliot Kaczynski, front row of the starting grid. They'll come off the final turn, and this time it looks to me as though that's a much smoother, better flow of a start. They come off the turn. Are we racing? Oh yes! Up to the first corner. Good start from Noah Montero, tucks in behind Thibaut Ramakas. Everybody just trying to keep it nice and smooth as they work their way through the first hairpin. Stay out of trouble, everybody. Keep it nice and tidy on the run to the hairpin. Will they keep it all pointing in the right direction? A lot of big braking zones coming up. A bit of a run wide and a mistake from the Paralin. That is game over at the front for Hugo Marti. He will drop right to the back of the field. Very unfortunate indeed for Hugo.
And that was self-inflicted as well. Just drove off the circuit, which is a big shame.
It was indeed, I'm afraid. So there is Mike Pachala. He leads the rest of the cavalry. 4th position for him. It's all settled up at the front in terms of the 3 drivers battling for the early stages. Ramekers, Montero and Kaczynski. Ramekers holding the middle of the road, making sure that Montero can't go left, can't go right without too much of a difficulty. So it's going to be a very solid run as the drivers fly through. Look at the speed that you get the semblance of from these guys from that stationary camera. You really get a proper understanding of the incredibly fast motions that these karts have. You've got to remember that these guys will go 0 to 60, very comparable speeds to the likes of some of the top sports cars on the road.
Right now, these 3 doing what they need to do. No one giving anyone any quarter. As Kaczynski looking like he might go for something here on Montero. Montero, though, certainly having a good run in this one. Checks over the shoulder, and actually, Ramekers goes defensive there, curiously. And not sure why he did that. He wasn't under any pressure from Montero, but now certainly feels like he is, because looking at the closing distance there, I'm not sure if that was just slipstream or whether or not there was something there with Ramekers, because right now he is under pressure. And he keeps checking over the shoulder, and that's a clear indication that something is not 100% right with his kart.
Perhaps the tyre pressures haven't quite worked out in his favour, because he doesn't seem to be settled, does he? Timo Ramekers having to go more defensive than you would think at this stage. He may be the #1 FIA Karting International ranked driver on the planet, but if your tyre pressures are not right, you're going to struggle to hold on to 2 very competitive racers like Noah Montero and Eli Kaczynski. Worth pointing out again as well that both Ramekers and Montero have a DNF in their pocket, so they're going to have slightly fresher tyres than some of the drivers around them, and that's going to give them a chance to get back into contention, but it's not going to guarantee them anything at this point. So there is another chance as Montero hovers around behind Timo Ramekers once again. Kaczynski still there in 3rd from Pachala, Roche, Monza, Aksoy, Kinmark, and then Jensen Burnett in front of the Irishman Daniel Kelleher from Rocco Coronel and Kit Bolowski. A very interesting run from Tiziano Monza, now fastest lap of the race in the Franciacorta Paralin.
Yes, indeed. Looking very quick out there. And keep a close eye on him, as he is not too far behind this top battle. I see a couple of different groups out there racing, and it's certainly been interesting. Well, right now, what we're seeing in the intermediate classification is that the only driver really benefiting from this one is Elliot Kaczynski, putting himself up 7th in the intermediate classifications, with both of these front runners, like you were saying earlier, both with DNFs and running with the fresher tyres. As look into the inside, looked Noah Montero, not close enough though for the attack, and now checks over the shoulder, and now Ramekers once again starts to go defensive. That will reintroduce Kaczynski back into this fight, as Jensen Burnett now sets the fastest lap of the race. Again, no quarter given still between these 3 drivers. And Ramekers just taking that normal racing line to start off with now, as there's a bit of debris there on the circuit. Or is that just something that's dangling over the circuit? Not too sure. And is that someone off at turn 5 again?
I think it's Hugo Marti for the 2nd time. Hugo Marti has gone off, and I'm afraid it's game over. I think we've also got a bit of an issue for Max Rafalik, who is down in the back there. There is a very unhappy Max Rafalik walking away from the scene. And there, oh, that is one of the wards. So that is Jacob McAuliffe, the Maltese driver. So Jacob McAuliffe has gone off the road as well. So very unfortunate indeed. So now we have no Hugo Marti, we have no Max Rafalik, and we have no Jacob McAuliffe. So they've all gone off the road. But here we go, these 3 still running together in formation. Ramekers, Montero, Kaczynski. Neither driver really making a move on the other yet. Let's see what happened. Now there is the debris, I think. Do you not think that's...
Oh no, there was a bit of debris on the circuit. It was actually a pox that was actually in the foreground of the shot. I thought it was debris on the track, but I think so was the production crew. Thought it was a bit of debris as well.
Well, do you know what? There's huge chunks of rubber coming off these tyres, and it is quite hard to distinguish between them when you're at full throttle and when the cameras are trying to keep up with it. So Very easy to misjudge that. Montero nudging Ramicus through the first part of the lap. We're on the penultimate lap, and look, Ramicus is really going defensive now. Here comes Montero. Think. Beautiful! Noah Montero absolutely undercuts Thibaut Ramicus, who goes ultra defensive. Montero was slow in, but he was fast out, and that's how he was able to get past Ramicus before they even turned in for the right-hander. He couldn't retaliate. Montero has absolutely pulled a fast one there on Thibaut Ramicus.
It certainly has, yeah, because that move is not an easy one to pull as well on that exit, because you can still carry the speed on the outside, but Montero just had the legs on Ramicus, and yeah, like you said, had that sign sealed and done before they got to the next corner. Now it's Kaczynski's turn to have a go, and Kaczynski looking like he might sign this one up, maybe even into the first corner here. Looks to the outside. Is he going to try and go for the switchback on the exit? No, hasn't quite got the legs this time around to have a go. Now we'll go down in towards turn number 5, and both of them go defensive. Kaczynski tries to get it done. This time he tries to copy what Montero did, but with that little bit of contact between the two of them, hasn't got the legs to get it done around the outside this time. That's what Ramicus was trying to do to Montero earlier on, but it couldn't do it this time around, and that's released Montero now. He's clear for the win.
He just needed to get on the throttle a little bit earlier, did Elliot Kaczynski, and he wasn't able to do that because he was too busy focusing on Thibaut Ramicus. Now he's going to try again on the far side. Ramicus holds the inside. Here comes Kaczynski to try and get alongside again, and off the final turn, it won't be there, but Noah Montero will. Brilliant run from the Portuguese driver. Noah Montero gets the job done on Thibaut Ramicus from Elliot Kaczynski. He was able to get it done because he absolutely timed it. He knew that Ramicus was going to be slow into that hairpin, so he decided to go slow in as well. He got a faster drive off the turn. He preempted the throttle. Perfectly done. And Montero sprints to the line in front of Thibaut Ramicus and Elliot Kaczynski. That's the best way to bounce back after the problems from earlier on today. Excellently done by Noah Montero. Really did manage to get himself back into a confident position there, and he made it look so smart. Very nicely handled and very nicely done. Dictatorial, but also very clinical, and an excellent performance so far from our contenders. Noah Montero running a very solid and smooth race then, up in front of Thibaut Ramicus and Elliot Kaczynski, and then it is Louis Cochet from Alpecsoy and Tiziano Monza. Great running from them all, and a very solid and smooth effort. So Noah Montero bangs in a victory right at the last. He's got one more race to go, but he keeps himself in the hunt. Thibaut Ramicus second from Elliot Kaczynski, and then Louis Cochet from Alpecsoy, Tiziano Monza, Oliver Kinmark and Jensen Burnett, with Mike Pacchiala and Dan Kelleher in the top 10 from Kit Bolowski and Rocco Coronel. Karar Firhand is in 13th in front of Joel Pocchiala and Chiara Batig. 16th position for Travis Teo, and then 17th place for Lorenzo Campos ahead of Salim Hanar and Matthias Orjuela. Matt Corby in 20th in front of Nikitin Nikishov, and then Vasi Apostolidis in front of Vladimir Ivanikov. Mattheo Dauvergne and Nicolas Veyen from Matthias Ovaska, Merel Peldes and Augusto Toniolo. Then the retirements, Jacob Mikalev, Max Rafalik and Hugo Marti. Not a bad run at all from Noah Montero. That makes up for earlier. A fabulous performance from the Portuguese star as they flew down the tram lines. No problems at all, but Thibaut Ramicus had pressure from Montero right from the outset, and he just timed it. That was all that race was about, was good timing and good discipline. He didn't want to get himself into a silly position, didn't overdrive the car, just worked himself into a good place and a good rhythm, and that was very easy in the end to get the job done. An excellent display from our contenders. Big mistake from Hugo Marti, and that was the beginning of the end for him, running off the road and dropping to the back. Very unfortunate indeed for the Spaniard. He would not recover from that one, unfortunately. There were some good battles elsewhere. This got a little bit close for comfort, but here's the move from Noah Montero, just sublime, making the bid on Thibaut Ramicus. Was able to jump him on the penultimate lap in fantastic fashion. But a great solid work. He really made it work to his advantage. He didn't overdrive the kart at all. Just kept himself solid and smooth. A great run from Noah Montero, the Portuguese driver, doing a fantastic job. Then this is where, sadly, Elliot Kaczynski was just not quite able to get the same move on Thibaut Ramicus. There was a slight rubbing between the two of them, and he lost his acceleration advantage. So Ramicus would be able to hold him off to the line. But Noah Montero getting the job done in fabulous fashion. Excellent performance and a brilliant victory for Noah Montero. And hopefully he is now down